Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Josh Pather. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here this wonderful Saturday afternoon. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on here.
Oh, you betcha. We're excited to have you talk about how to leverage YouTube for your business success. And you are the wonderful CEO of a very successful business, Photo Booth International. And wow, I was like, I've seen your technology. I've actually been at corporation and worked as a consultant for corporations. I think that hired you guys out to come to corporate events, and you'll talk more with our audience to share what that's all about. But
Mhm.
before we go to all of that, you have a fascinating backstory. You were born in South Africa. You came to the United States with little more than just your suitcase and not much else, and you built a major successful business. So let's start at the beginning. What brought you to the United States for one, and then into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so my parents, they wanted a better life for my sister and me. And so I didn't really have quite a say in it. I was 11 at the time when we came. And so, yeah, that's, they want come here for a better life and more opportunities. And yeah, what led me to entrepreneurship, I didn't, working for someone else has never, like, it never sparked anything in me. And I wanted to control like my own destiny. I had several jobs prior to being an entrepreneur. And it started off in like 2008, and then with the whole crisis that happened, I lost that job, and then I worked at Bank of America as a teller, and they closed down that branch. And then I worked at Experian, the credit bureau, and these are large conglomerate companies, that you would never think. Like you think like, hey, you're going to build a career, you're going to climb the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, at Experian, I was there for 4 years, and they walked in one day and said, hey, we're moving this department overseas. And obviously, they got to please the shareholder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I was like, okay, it's time for me to take matters into my own hands, because I can't trust or make plans, or, like, hey, I want to buy a house, I want to have a baby, I want to do something like that. And then,
Mm-hmm.
it's up to someone, a board member is deciding, the outcome of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what led me to entrepreneurship.
Yeah. It's very interesting, Josh. I mean, for me, similar story. I was in corporate America, 4 jobs in 4 years, kept letting me go. And I was lucky that I had such a great database of people and company that knew my work ethic and would hire
Mhm.
me like that. So it was never that I was on a waiting line for unemployment. I immediately got another job. But I was like, after fourth time, I was like, I'm done. That's it. I
Right,
got to put my destiny in my own hands. But
right.
I saw back in high school, you were even mowing lawns. So you had that entrepreneurial spirit from early on. But when you start to do the photo booth idea, you were
Mhm.
working with a friend, right? Is that where you decided to go in, and what kind of was the impetus to that?
Yeah, so I was actually, I always had a side hustle, if you will, uh, and so at the time I was DJing weddings. And so when I used to work at the bank, one of the other tellers there, he was a DJ. So I was his roadie for a long time. And I saw how much money he was making. And I was like, man, I like it. I'm not afraid to be like in front of a crowd or audience, or, make announcements at a wedding. I like music. I've always been into DJing. So it started off like that. I was already doing events. Now, DJing is a lot of work. There's a lot of preparation, the first dance, the father-daughter dance, the announcements, the bridal party. There's so much of preparation. And so my friend, he went to a wedding and he saw a photo booth there. And this was back in 2012. And he gave me a call. He said, hey, let's do it. And I was already inside the industry.
Mhm.
So we went to Home Depot. We spent about $500. We bought wood, paint, a little stand, a couple of gadgets that we needed. And that's how we built the first photo booth. And about a year or two later, we ended up splitting up. It didn't work out in the end. And so then I ended up just running the rental business myself.
Mm.
And then people started asking me like, hey, where could I get started? And then I was just like, I had such a hard time getting started because we had to kind of pioneer our industry. There was nobody teaching on YouTube, teaching, how to run this type of business.
Mhm.
And so that was the inception of Photo Booth International.
Wow. And I love that. We talked just a little bit before the interview how you're helping other entrepreneurs who want to get started, not in the way of franchising, but helping them that if they have a desire to create such a similar business that you're doing, how they can get started, and why create the wheel when it's already been created by you, and get the the perfect information to get their business rocking and rolling. But tell me about the partnership a little bit, because I hear a lot of people get started with a business and then they have partnerships and it doesn't work. What was your biggest lesson through that partnership? Was it ending
Yeah.
on good terms, or
No.
what would you say to people who are entering partnerships?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because hopefully somebody is listening and they can learn from it. So, I know this guy for about 10 years. It's like brotherly love. I love you, man. We're going to be best friends forever, right? And then you throw a business in the mix. And the attorney told us, I remember we got to set up the LLC. He's like, if anything ever happens between you two, you can't come to me because it'll be a conflict of interest. And so something ended up happening. One person's going to work harder than the other if the expectations are not discussed up front. So anytime you have a partnership, whether it's with a family, a friend, discuss the expectations up front and discuss the exit strategy up front. You say, hey, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to leave, you buy me out, and get that agreement up front. If we did that up front, it wouldn't have been, no hard feelings, but instead it was a lot of hard feelings. It was like 2 years of lawsuits back and forth. And it got nasty. And it's sad, but that's kind of what happens. But if you just face the worst case scenario up front, get it all in paper in black and white, scan it, put it on Dropbox, put it on the cloud, right? So you don't lose the paper. That would be my thing. And then that would be the biggest lesson, if we just discussed it up front, because to think that it'll last forever, and people change over time. Someone you went to high school with may not be the same 10 years ago, 10 years later.
Yeah.
And that would be have a friendship agreement. If you're starting a business with a friend, say, hey, I value my friendship with you much more than a business. And if this doesn't work out, I want you to buy me out, or I can buy you out, and then I'll just continue to run it and you go do something else.
Yeah. That's a really good point. We had someone on last year, and I forgot the name of his book exactly, but he really wrote out a business plan on how to sit down if you're going to start a business together with a partner, how to pie it or strategize it pie wise. Like, okay, you do X, Y, physical labor, and I do blah, 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 because everything has a dollar value. And when you sit down and you say, okay, you're going to do 20 hours worth of work, I'm going to give resources of XYZ money. This is how much this equals in the pie. So therefore, we all know ahead of time, if you add more time, I add more money, we have it all worked out what equals what. And so we're all on the same page. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That way, yeah, like you said, it's like entering a marriage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
it's
exactly like that.
Yeah. And it's a good idea for marriage people to do
and
that
no matter
too.
how long, is how much love there is, how much of time, it gets nasty, and just avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. So where does it look like today with your photo booth business? Now you've grown, you're teaching other business owners how to start their own business. What does it look like for Photo Booth International now, and what's your vision going forward?
Yeah. So today, the rental business did really well. We, in 1 year we did over 800 events.
Wow.
And so we ended up exiting the photo booth business in about 2017, and we're focusing now on Photo Booth International. So my goal here is to make sure that, if I can save someone the mistakes that I made in the beginning, I sleep better at night. And I want to be the mentor that I needed, when I got started. And so, yeah, we just got named Inc. 5000 fastest growing company in America, number 1239, and number 63 in Texas. So, for an immigrant, I came here with 2 bags, no college education, no business degree. It was a big accomplishment, and it goes to show that with the right amount of effort, that you can accomplish anything. And so, yeah, it's looking like today, we want to continue to help people. With the pandemic last year, I think a lot of people realized that, hey, you can't really rely on a job. A single income is not enough anymore. Inflation is coming. They're printing so much money. You got to have something on the side. You just do, and, when you look at the business model of a photo booth business, where you can buy a piece of equipment, for 5,000 or 10,000 and just rent it out X amount of times and have it fully paid off. There's not many businesses that can fit that kind of model. And the business is not a skill-based business. Okay. So there's people out here selling Amazon courses and Facebook marketing and buy this and buy that. And you can buy those courses, but you do need some level of skill in order to be successful at them. With us, it's a demand-based business. Okay. Is there weddings that's happening? Is there events that's happening? You buy a photo booth and you service it. So that's, it's looking bountiful. We've got a massive increase of orders ever since March,
Hmm.
and we'd love to help anyone who wants to start a nice side hustle. It's a
Yeah.
good investment, can be paid off very quickly, and we give you all the support and training. We have the blueprint. We have a lot of people who have been successful with it, and
Yeah.
yeah, you're coming into a proven system.
Yeah, and I love this because I had we had someone a couple years ago who mentioned just that with it's so expensive for families, you really need to have more than one income, and sometimes the job just doesn't cut it. And like you said, when you put your destiny in your own hand and you're making and creating something that's yours,
Hmm.
um, you have the power to grow it. Whereas with a job, it's capped off at a certain point.
Hmm.
Now, tell me how you've been using to build your business, leveraging YouTube, because a lot of people use it to grow their business. How have you leveraged YouTube to grow your business?
Yeah, so from the beginning, I always knew YouTube was like a long-term strategy for us, but it worked out so well because I'm just sharing my journey. I'm sharing every day what we're doing in the office.
Hmm.
I interview my staff, so they're kind of like characters now in the story. It builds connection with people. I spend a lot of time on YouTube myself. I watch people, and so being a free platform that most businesses are not using, it's terrible when I do consulting too, and in some business like, no, we don't have a YouTube channel. Man, you're missing out. No matter
Hmm.
what it is, whether you're mowing lawns or you're a plumber or you're an attorney,
Yeah.
you have to show people what you do. It's not
Hmm.
just enough have a web page. Hey, we're the best at customer service. We're the best at this. We're the best at that. So you have to show people, hey, this is my lawn care business. I have 3 lawnmowers. This is a Toro lawnmower. It's a zero turn. I'm gonna get there early, get your lawn mowed. I'm gonna spray this chemical on there so you're not gonna have any weeds. My name is so and so, and this is my story.
Hmm.
And that just goes a long way, right? Because at the end of the day, if someone has to make a decision whether it's just a web page they have to look at, or they can watch a video on you and what type of equipment you have, and how you operate your business and your staff members, they're gonna go with you all day long. And I've seen that personally. And so I like to tell people, if you're shy to get on camera, it's costing you and your family money. That's the bottom line at the end of the day. And I'm able to be the biggest in my industry and the most successful because of YouTube. And I know my competitors are too shy to get on camera, so I have a massive advantage over them.
That's so
And
sad. That is so sad. And you know what? Let's say you're not comfortable with setting up the equipment and YouTube. Some people are just so, but you know what? Use other people's platform. Boom. This
yeah,
right here. This is, what I found, and this is something someone taught me a couple years ago. They wanted to fly airplanes. They were broke as all heck, right? So he decided to start a podcast called Other People's Airplanes. So what he does, he goes to the airports, connects with other
nice.
pilots who are doing business or whatever, gets in
Mhm.
their airplane, interviews them, but gets stick time. Boom.
Wow,
So I was
that's
like, what a
awesome.
great idea. But so, there is a different way to use the platforms, and maybe you're not a podcaster or a video caster, but you
Hmm.
can use other people's platform. So yeah, I'm glad you were able to do that. Because you know what? You mentioned something very important, and it's stories, because you tell the stories, you interview your employees, and people love stories. They connect with people.
Hmm.
And when
Exactly.
you can tell the story and people relate to the story, that is what's going to sell your product.
Right. It's otherwise you're just a commodity,
Yeah.
they have no connection to you. I mean, people come in now to my business, they're like, Josh, I've been watching your videos for 2 years. Here's my
Mhm.
credit card. There's no selling. And it's working for me 24/7 a day,
That's great. Yeah.
and it's
It's
growing.
evergreen.
Exactly. And it'll become one of the best assets that I have, even beyond my email marketing list,
Mhm.
beyond my Facebook retargeting list. My
Mhm.
YouTube subscribers will become my greatest asset. And you have to start building it. The sooner the better.
Yeah.
There's people out there basket weaving that have YouTube channels, right? There's always going to be an audience for you, and it's free, and you should
Yeah.
definitely take advantage of it and then rip the audio, turn it into a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I follow this video, this YouTube of this woman who is a homesteader farmer, and I was just curious. And so she has such a great personality that I never thought about farming, but I love her personality. She shows all her animals, goes around the
Hmm.
farm, doing her thing in the morning, and
Yeah.
I love tuning in just to get a
Right.
different perspective. And
Exactly.
because she has such a great personality, boom. So yeah, you are so right. You're leaving money on the table if you don't start your own channel, or at least use other people's platform. So it's been awesome talking with you. How do people get in contact with you, connect with Photo Booth International? How do they do that?
Yeah, definitely. Instagram at photoboothint. My personal Instagram at next level JP. And then if you're interested in getting a photo booth business, it's Photo Booth International, photoboothint.com. You can find us on YouTube as well. Check us out. And if you need inspiration to start your own business, take a look and see what we're doing. Model what works. Don't try and reinvent the wheel.
Absolutely. Where's your YouTube channel? How do they get that there? So if they want to check you out.
It's Photo Booth International on YouTube. It'll pop up.
Awesome. Well, Josh, I just have to thank you again. You shared so many wonderful insights to help business owners out there. Thank you so much for coming to Savvy Broadcasting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.